I'm sure you're all familiar with this name. When talking about display drawing tablets, Wacom is certainly a household name, offering high-end products used by professionals like the Cintiq Pro series or the Computer Tablet Mobile Studio Pro. Here's this big list of the Cintiq Pro specs, which I'm just not going to bother reading. For a beginner to digital art or someone looking to buy their very first display tablet, it might not be a good idea to spend thousands of dollars just to purchase a device whose full capacity you may not really know how to use anyway. This is where entry-level tablets come in. The two I'll be showcasing in this video are Wacom's marginally more affordable entry-level tablet, the Wacom One, versus Huion's Kamvas 13. I've had the opportunity to use both over the past few years I've been doing digital art. I used the Wacom One for about 3 years before finally switching over to Huion. I've never used the brand prior to that, but I've always wanted to see how the quality compares. Huion has always offered products that are quite a lot cheaper, and while years ago, Wacom might have had the monopoly over tablet technology, being the pioneer in battery-less styluses, but as you probably already know, for a while now, Huion and other brands have been able to catch up to them, while at the same time still offering lower prices for their devices. What I want to cover in the video is a comparison of the two and to determine which one I'd consider the better entry-level tablet. Something to note before we start, the Wacom One model I had was the original model, not the newer 2023 version. It is important to note that there are differences between the two. I'll address that later at the end of the video. Let's start with first looking at what comes with the box. I don't have the original boxes anymore, but here's everything that was in them when I first got the tablets. Starting with the Wacom One, we have the tablet itself, the stylus, and the X-shaped cable, which consists of the HDMI, USB, adapter, and the part that connects to the tablet. For the Kamvas 13, we have the tablet, the pen, or the stylus, a stand for the stylus, the cable, and some extra things like a drawing glove and a wiping cloth. I think at an additional price you can also have a tablet bag. These accessories aren't really all necessary, but they're nice to have from the start, so first point goes to Kamvas for all the free stuff. Next, let's talk about the physical dimensions. Starting with the display size, here are the measurements for the working area of the Wacom One. All you really need to know is that the screen is an HD 13-inch display, large enough to have lots of screen space, but also small enough to be able to be comfortably held with your hand if you don't wish to mount it on a stand. The thickness of the tablet is roughly 1.4 centimeters, which is around half an inch and weighing a kilo or about 2.2 pounds. For Kamvas, the measurements are more or less the same, the only difference being that Kamvas is slightly thinner and less heavy. Not that these differences are perceivable to us anyway. Both tablets are slim and still light enough to carry if you need to travel. The difference in their physical dimensions are honestly kinda negligible, so let's leave it at a draw. Now comes the fun part, the features. I'm only going to cover the general noticeable features that stand out and not get into the hyper specifics. For the Wacom One, the most interesting feature that it has is that it comes with a built-in stand. It doesn't go all that high, or rather, it's not really adjustable at all, but it is a nice simple feature, really adding onto the elegant design that I feel Wacom tablets tend to have. Under one of these stand legs, you can also find spare nibs and the nib remover. Another cool little feature it has is a stylus holder at the top of the tablet. This little thing might look like just a label, like the ones you have in clothes, but it actually serves also as a place to tuck away your stylus so that you don't lose it, like when it inevitably rolls off the edge of your desk. Overall, these are all pretty cool to have, all fitted into one device almost seamlessly. On the other hand, Kamvas comes not with a built-in stand, but instead offers a great functionality with its 8 customizable shortcut buttons. The tablet also comes with a small stylus stand separate to it, which lets you prop the stylus up, and it also doubles as storage for 10 spare nibs, including the nib remover. In comparison to the buttons, I actually appreciate, these extra nibs more, since nibs tend to wear down pretty quickly after a few months of use. I find it hard to decide which is better based on the physical features, simply because of the vastly different approaches in design. Wacom 1 seems to be designed for elegance and simplicity, while Kamvas has all of these things crammed in to increase its functionality. As opposed to all of those, what I find more important to consider is probably the capability of the display itself. Here's how one looks, and here's the same image when moved over to Kamvas. My camera couldn't quite capture the difference all too well, but the Kamvas does have a significantly better color output and brightness. Because of this, in terms of features overall, I do think Kamvas deserves to take the point. And now before we wrap things up, I do have one last very important segment I have to cover, one that I'm sure all of you would like to know as well. The glaring flaws of each tablet. In all honesty, the one big flaw Wacom 1 has is its lack of shortcut buttons. The tablet is bare of any buttons save for the power button, while its stylus only has one, assigned to right click by default. It's pretty sad, especially when comparing to Kamvas, which comes with 8 shortcut buttons plus the 2 on its stylus. However, Wacom 1 does excel in a single aspect that might be quite easily overlooked, and that is its cable positioning. Having the cable port on top prevents the user's hands from frequently touching heated areas due to long usage of the tablet. Kamvas comes with the glaring flaw of having its cable be placed on the right side of the tablet, basically right over where your right hand would be hovering most of the time. Overheating is definitely an issue for the Kamvas, and let's just say that before I had a desk fan to cool down my entire setup, using the tablet for more than a few minutes at a time was not the most fun experience for my poor hand. And there goes the only point that I can really justify giving to Wacom, taking into consideration also how I like the overall design. With all that said, it seems Kamvas 13 offers a lot more functionality and provides more features as opposed to Wacom 1. Not to mention, that is before we even consider that it costs about $100 cheaper than the other. As a long-time user of Wacom, I can honestly say that yes, Wacom devices are quite durable and will likely be guaranteed to last 2 to 3 years before showing any problematic issues. But I really do think it's a little overpriced, considering its competitors like Huion are able to offer the same or even better functionality at a more affordable price. Comparing between the two, the Kamvas 13 seems to be the better one. However, I would also like to mention 2 other tablets also commonly touted as entry-level tablets, the first being the aforementioned newer model of Wacom 1. The 2023 model of Wacom 1 comes with a display and non-display version, both having similar capabilities. Unlike its predecessor, looking at the specs, I saw that the display version actually had color output almost as good as Kamvas 13 was, and it also came with compatibility to Android phones, a feature that Kamvas shared but the old model of 1 did not. Unfortunately, at the same price that the old model was, you can only purchase the 12-inch model of the newer gen, with the 13-inch model being quite significantly more expensive. If you're fine with having a smaller display, maybe that's not such a bad change. However, I would say that at that point, you might as well just go with another cheaper contender. The second tablet I'd like to mention, the XP Pen Artist 12. It's a 12-inch tablet that offers pretty good features and comes at only about $199. Based on its specs, it seems to be about as powerful as the 2 tablets I mentioned in this video, aside from having a rather smaller display. However, I've never used the brand, so I'm afraid I can't personally recommend it, and as someone who does prefer a larger screen, I would still pick a 13-inch display over a 12. So in conclusion, the one tablet I'd personally recommend as the best entry-level tablet would be the Kamvas 13. It's quite cheaper than Wacom's, achieves better results, and I don't really find any significant issue with it aside from the heating problem, which if you have a cooling system or you have a good setup, it won't really be much of a problem anyway. I've only had it for less than a year, so I can't really say if it'll be as durable as Wacom, but so far in almost every other aspect, it's proven to be a lot better. Well, that's it for my short little review. Thanks for watching. Sub to the channel if you'd like to listen to a dummy talk more about the digital art process or about video games. I'll probably do a bit of both. That's all I have to say for now. Bye!